Welcome to Ford Mod Motor Training Part 26. This video we're going to be exploring the engine diagnostic programming capability within our Ford PCMs. We're going to have a lot to cover, so let's jump into our video so we can check this out.
Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at working with programming our engine diagnostics within our Ford PCMs. Now the diagnostic section is going to be housing all kinds of things that we can turn on or off functionalities or checksums within our PCM. So if we've deleted something from the car, let's say it's a sensor, we turned it off or we deleted it or bypassed it and we want to go make sure it doesn't throw a check engine light, we're able to do that in the diagnostics section. Now let's go in here and take a look at a file so we can start to go through this. Let's go here to File, Open. I'm going to grab a stock equivalent file here, so 2005 Mustang GT. Let's go click Open here, and then we'll move from Engine, and then we'll go into Engine Diag. Engine Diag's where we do all of this programming. Now we're going to find we have a couple of different tabs. We have a General tab, Airflow, Misfire, Exhaust, and then DTCs. So first, taking a look in our General tab, the first two checkboxes here are set to enable. These will go in this particular first one here, the MIL check engine. This will turn off the check engine light on our dash. If we don't want it to illuminate, even though we have fault codes, we can simply go here and set it to disable. Now it's not going to get rid of all your fault codes. You still have them present with a scan tool or your VCM scanner. When you hook it up, you're still going to be able to go in and read and clear all the codes just as normal, but this will turn off that functionality for the actual dash. Now the next option here, the MIL distance travel calc. I don't typically turn this off, usually leave it enabled. We don't need to go and worry about that in most cases. The variable cam timing. This is the cam angle test to verify the cam position sensor is functional on our 3-valve engines with variable cam. We can see the test angle has to go to 50 degrees to verify that everything functions properly, or else it could throw this P0340 code. We're going to find if you went in and have a phase limiter placed into the engine, so it's going to limit how far the variable cam can rotate, you want to go and lower this down. The stock cam with a stock system can go to about 60 degrees, give or take, and we'll find that if it goes to 50, then it satisfies this checksum here. Now, if we're not getting up to 50, let's just say that as it's going in, it tries to perform the check and it doesn't get there, it could throw out the fault code. So if you're going in and putting a phase limiter into the engine for your variable cam, and let's say it's limiting to 20 degrees of rotation, you might want to put your test angle at something lower so it can actually test it and reach that test and verify the cam position. But in most cases, stock engine, we can leave this alone. We don't need to touch it. Now the temp sensors, there's an ECT sensor. Right now it is set to disabled status. This is going to be either turning on or off our engine coolant temp sensor. Now in this case, on this particular file, it's using an inferred or a calculated coolant temp. So in this case, it's set to disable. So normally, we're not going to go and turn on or off our actual engine coolant temperature. We're just going to use whatever's programmed within the Ford PCM. In this case, it's set to disable because it is an inferred or calculated coolant temp, not directly measured from a temp sensor. On our diag tests here, we have a voltage min and max. If it starts to get outside this range, it's able to throw a fault code for voltage. We can see here down below, we have comprehensive test for the OBD2 system. Right now, these are both set to enable. Typically, we want to go and set these to enable. There's a secondary air test and secondary air MIL. So in this case, they're set to disable because this particular vehicle doesn't have a secondary air system on it as part of the emissions control. If you've deleted it and your car had it on, you would want to go and set these both to disable to get rid of that checksum or looking for that particular subsystem. Now under airflow here, we're going to find that we have our mass airflow sensor. There's a high fail AD counts and a low fail AD counts, as well as fail RPM. Now, the most important thing that we have to keep in mind here is that the MAF sensor works in a 0 to 5 volt range. And when it's relating to an AD count, this is analog to digital count. This is some of the old school programming from earlier generations of Ford PCMs. Now, we'll find that the total range of movement in our AD counts would be between 0 and 1023. 1023 would equate to 5 volts. What this is saying, if we get too high a voltage on our MAF sensor, it could potentially throw a high circuit code or high voltage code. We don't want to see that happen. So we don't want to go into a mass airflow fault or going into essentially a fail-safe protection mode because we've exceeded the total MAF counts, which translates the voltage from the MAF sensor. 980 would be the equivalent of about 4.9, 4.85 volts. We usually want to raise this up to almost at the maximum. The maximum is 1023. We'll raise this to something like 1020 just so we're pretty much right at that maximum range. Now the low fail, if it drops below this particular AD counts, which is extremely low, it can also fault the MAF sensor out. We're not going to worry about that. We're just going to leave that bottom or the minimum or the low alone. Now the fail RPM, we're also going to leave that as is. It's not usually concerned.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here. And you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.